Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy. Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen. If you would like, you can call me Super Dave 817. We are here to talk about Bazooka number 62 of the classified line. So we are moving right along here. We just did the Tiger Force Bazooka not too long ago, so we're going to go over regular Bazooka. And as a bonus, we're going to do Outback number 63 along with Bazooka, and so we can get this moving along, the regular Outback as well as the regular Bazooka. So we're going to do a twofer. Yay, 2-in-1. So let's get into the history of Bazooka. First off, from Dan Klingensmith's series of books, we're going to go over Bazooka's history. And so we have his turnarounds and his bio there. You can see some of those turnarounds. He has that traditional jersey, that football jersey on. Let's see what Dan has to say. So, alternate names for Bazooka is Long Shot, Rough Tackle, Heat Man, Armor Hammer, Hard Line. Armor Hammer, that's a funny one. Year release 1985, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat did most of the figures from 82 to 97. 82 and 82 to 87. Most of the vehicle drivers and most of the figures he designed. So let's see what he had to say about this, Dan. So this is volume number 2, Creating G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero. When designing Bazooka, Ron had two different concepts. One concept had him as a more traditional soldier wearing a bandolier with mortar shells across his chest, while the other had him look like an everyday type of guy. So there you go. There's two different variations. You can see with the ideations they went through. They had to choose which version they were going to go with. So we already had a Bazooka trooper that was zapped previously to Bazooka. So there you go. All right. So we're going to put that aside. And then we're going to go over his vintage package. So Bazooka's vintage package is, let's see, not that one. This one. It's right there. Bazooka. He comes with a little bit of accessories, a backpack, a mortar shell gun, and stuff like that. So we're gonna. This is from Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe by Carson Metaxas, 3D Joes. And then, let's see, Bazooka's first appearance was in G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, in the 80s in issue 44. This is also the Bat's first appearance, Lady J's first appearance, a whole bunch of people's first appearance. Maybe Ripcord's first appearance might have been in this issue as well. So there you go. And then he made his first appearance in the Sunboat animated series, The Pyramids of Darkness, with a lot of the 85 crew of characters that was in that season. So then we're going to check out his vintage figure. Here's his vintage figure. And I have all the accessories for this one. So we have Bazooka. He's in pretty good shape, I would say. He's pretty sturdy. A lot of the figures from the early 80s had bulkier bucks, so you can see that his mold is a little bit chunkier. And then I have his mortar as well, his backpack, and his helmet. So there you go. But there's no paint wears. He looks pretty good. He was good friends with Alpine, so that was a character that people have been wanting for quite a while. After we got Bazooka, they were like, "Well, where's Alpine? You can't have Bazooka without Alpine." So that was a figure that we were trying to get in the line for a while. It took them quite some time to do Alpine, and we eventually did get him. So there you go. There's your vintage Bazooka. So I'm just going to stick him over there. See if I can get him to stand up. Oh, doesn't want to stand up. There, got him to stand. All right. So then we're going to go into the Bazooka package. So he's number 62 again. And let's look at these designations, see if we can figure out what some of these are on him. So he has the ordnance. He has let's see. He has launcher. So we got ordnance, we got launcher, we have explosives, and then we have, looks like this little Roman guy in the with a slash through him. And that is anti-armor. So there you go. So those are the designations for Bazooka. So we had all of those for him. And then, so the package, they have the new packaging where it has the cross cell on the back, the render of the figure with all the accessories, and has the little action pose of the figure there. And then the artwork is similar to the Tiger Force artwork that we previously got. They just changed the colors up a little bit. So there's that, and it scrolls all the ways around to the front of the package, which is really nice. It's a nice stylized art that is different. It looks a little bit like Larry Stroman artwork to me. And then you get the little figure there of Bazooka with his accessories. So again, this is the first time we're opening these up. We started with number 00, and we worked our way all the ways up. And now we're up to 62. Again, we have also been doing the vintage package with every 5 figures, and we will do the 60th and legacy with every 10 figures after 100. So there's Bazooka's package, and put that aside. And so we have the Bazooka. There he is. And then we have the weapons locker. And so we're going to pull the weapons all out of there. We have the normal Cobra and Joe paper package. Okay. Put that aside. Then we have the legal, all the gobbledygook legal jargon there. Put that back. And then we'll put the weapons locker over here. And then we will open up Bazooka. So there we go. Now, Bazooka was really portrayed in the cartoon kind of goofy. And then he was carried through to other animated cartoons as well. But He's mainly paired up with Alpine during the cartoons, um, and then in some episodes, Quick Kick. But they were all friends. So there you go. That over there. So now this mold is probably the exact same mold as we've gotten with the previous Tiger Force mold. I would say it looks very, very similar to me. So then we have the G.I. Joe box with the stars and stripes inside. Put that over here. Put all this stuff in there. So let's see. So he has the 14. It's reversed. The Tiger Force one had the white shirt with the red hat. This one's got the red shirt and it's got the blue 14 on it. He's got the little bitty deco of the silver on the buckle. He's got a secondary belt with some pouches. It's the same face print on that, very stern. He's got the armbands. They're the same. The boots are a different color. These are like a dark green boot with a green fatigue. The fatigues look similar to the Tiger Force, except they don't have the Tiger Force stripes on them. So pretty close to the previous version, the Tiger Force version. All right, so let's get his accessories opened up. See what we got. All right. So we got all that out of there. So first off, we have his helmet. His helmet differs from the previous helmet, where that one was red. This one is green, but it is green like it is in his vintage, and it has a little bit of brown deco on the edges of it. And it has also a little brown on the straps. So I'm going to put that on him. There. He's got his helmet. One of the few characters that comes with a helmet. Then we're going to put his backpack. His backpack looks like it's the exact same color as the Tiger Force one. Pretty similar color. So we're going to put that on his back. There. So we'll put him there for now. Let's see. Then we have, looks like, not sure what this is because I don't think this was on the other version. This is a different thing. If I'm not entirely sure what this is. Let me see if it says what it is on the back of the package. Does it tell you what that is? It's a cap. It's a blasting cap that goes over the bazooka, I guess. So let's see. Let's get the bazooka. There's the bazooka, and the blasting cap goes on the front of it. Now the other version, I don't believe had that. Um, I don't remember the other one having that blasting cap. I guess maybe it was slightly different. Maybe I'm not entirely sure, but the blasting cap goes on the bazooka. The bazooka is it looks similar, but I don't think it's identical. Let me look at this. Let's get a closer look at this bazooka. All right, so it does have the blasting cap on the back there, right? So that's the same. Um, the handles, everything looks the same except for the deco. So it's shorter I'll say that it looks a little shorter to me. I don't know. Maybe that's because he's holding it, but it is similar. It does have the blasting cap. It does look the same. Um, so there you go. So then it comes with it's a more khaki green with a little bit of brown deco on the interior parts like that. There's brown interior parts there, so it is the same, and it does have the blast cap on there. So let's just put that there for now, and we'll go over some of these bazookas. So he's got, unlike the other ones, they were all green. These ones are all slightly different decos. This one has a little cobra deco on there, um, with a little cobra symbol where I guess that's like a target type thing where you can like fire it and it'll hit a target, a cobra target. So I'm going to stick that one inside the bazooka there. So it's inside the bazooka now. And then he's got three other ones. One that has yellow deco, a little bit of yellow deco on it, and black, a little yellow and black. Can't hardly see it with the lighting, but little yellow and black deco on that. So his backpack has room for 4 different missiles in it. So I'm going to put the missiles in there, um, and put them so they stick out like that, like they are on the other one. So I'm gonna, and then he has just a normal missile, or a bazooka, I should say, round, a bazooka round, and then he's got another one. They're more of a khaki color, and I put that one on there as well. So then you have the 3 bazookas in his backpack, and you have that on his back. There you go. And I used the bazooka on his right hand the last time I did this, but I'm going to put it on the left hand this time, just so it looks different and it looks cooler in the on the shelf as I do this. So there. You got the bazooka on the left hand this time. This is a pretty tight figure. There's no loose parts. All the articulation is very similar to uh, previous bazooka. We got the butterflied shoulders, we got the thigh, we got the calf articulation, we got the double pinned elbows, the double pinned knees, the normal crotch and waist articulation. We have the ab crunch, the dreaded ab crunch articulation. We have the wrist. We do not have the secondary wrist. We do have the secondary ankle and the foot rockers. So it's very similar to the previous release, just pretty much a different deco. So I'm wondering why they went with the Tiger Force first to mix it up or something. But we knew eventually we were going to get regular bazooka. It was obvious we were going to get that. And so whenever we get another version of a character, it's like, okay, we're going to get a Tiger Force, we're going to get a Python Patrol, we're going to get Night Force, we're going to get the different versions of that character. So when we got a Tiger Force bazooka first, we knew we were going to get the regular bazooka at some point. It came a lot quicker than I thought it was going to, but nevertheless, there he is, regular bazooka. See if I can get him to stand. I don't have a stand on him, so I don't know if he'll stay. I'll try. There. All right, so we're going to put him over there. Hopefully that will stay there like that. So there's your bazooka, number 62. And we're going to go roll right into Outback, number 63. Now, Outback's history is a little bit different than bazookas. We're going to go into Dan Klingensmith's series of books again. This is going to be volume 7. Volume 7, Creating G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero by Dan Klingensmith. So here's some color studies on Outback. Let's get into this. Alternate names, N.A. Year release 1987, designed by Ron Rudat. So there you go. This is at the tail end of Ron Rudat's design ideation period. He moved on after this to, I think, WWE, doing some wrestling figures and stuff like that. So let's see what Dan has to say about this. Putting him in a t-shirt that simply says survival, Outback defines what Ron classified as someone who knows everything there is to know about living and being in the wild. With this survivalist mentality, Outback could fend for himself if he were ever separated from the Joes during battle. And that does happen to Outback in the comics. And that's one of the best stories of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero. So there you go. There's some of his package art and some of his figure designs and turnarounds there on the side. Yeah. All right. So I mentioned his package art. So we're going to go into Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe by Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. Outback's package is right there. This vintage package from 1987. Now, 1987 is pretty much where I started to peter off with my G.I. Joe collecting. I still collected it, but I started to peter off. I didn't get as much as I was getting previously. So I would say about 89 is really where I stopped. I got little bits and pieces in 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, but I was really petering off in 87 and 88. I didn't get all the vehicles and stuff like that. I now have them all. As an adult collector, I do have them all, but that was during my childhood years in the 80s. When they were coming out, I was petering off. I was getting a lot of the figures, but I was not getting as much of the vehicles and stuff like that. So Outback's first appearance was number 59. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite issues of G.I. Joe. It's the first appearance of a lot of really cool stuff in G.I. Joe. We get some action from Raptor. We got the Pogo. We got Armor Cobra Commander. We got a lot of the rawhides. You can see right on the cover there. There's Outback. This storyline and this period is one of my favorite periods of G.I. Joe. There you go for Outback's first appearance. And Outback did not appear in Sunbow. Sunbow, they did the movie in 1987, but they did not include all of that year's toys and all of that year's releases for G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero in the movie. They did a lot of the rawhides. They did some of the bad guys. They did some of the Slaughters, Marauders, and stuff like that. But there was a lot of characters that were not released that came out that year that were in that movie. So then there's my Outback figure. I was able to put a new O-ring in him today as I was getting ready for this video. I swapped out his O-ring and gave him a nice tight body, and he looks pretty good. There's a little bit of yellowing on his shirt there, and then I have his gun, and he has his little flashlight on the side there. See that little flashlight on the side there? And then he has his survival gun. So that is Outback. Outback was a cool character, and I know a lot of people really like him. There's a lot of characters in this lineup that were really good. It's one of the better lineups in the entire G.I. Joe history. is 87 lineup. There's some reuse of characters. There's also some really good stuff. A lot of the main characters were presented in the movie, but also a lot of them were not, like Outback, which a lot of people like. Like I said, a lot of people liked him. So there you go. There's Outback, the vintage version of Outback. Yeah. All right. So then, like I said, he is number 63. We're going to go into his designations, and his designations are he's got the star with the shield and the lightning, and that is environmental specialist. He's got the all the little bullets piled up on themselves, and that one is light weapons. So environmental specialist, what light weapons, and then he has a picture with some trees. Let's see what that one is. I think I might have that one. Yes, I do. Environmental specialist jungle. So, and then he has another one that has a cactus and the moon. That's environmental specialist desert. So he's got jungle and desert and regular environmental specialist, and he's got the light weapons. So those are your designations for Outback. Um, Hello, Bobby World. Thanks for joining us today. We just did Bazooka. Now we're doing Outback. Um, I wonder if Hasbro is going to make a Night Force Outback. Oh yeah, I'm 100% certain they're going to do Outback. Um, it's just a matter of time before we get that Outback. They probably wanted to get some time between releases. Even though it's been a while since we got this release, there was not a lot of time between this one and the Tiger Force one over here, but there was definitely a lot of time between this one and now. So we've got uh I'm trying to think. He might be, I'm trying to think of who else. We have a lot of figures in Night Force that have not been released. They haven't done Psych Out yet. Repeater hasn't been done yet. Trying to think. We got Crazy Legs, we got Falcon, we got um Ripcord, we got Quarrel, um, we got Shockwave, uh, we got Shooter, we got a new character that we'll be getting to, Parth Varma. We got as Night Force. We got Beachhead and Quick Kick. Um, Who else did we get for Night Force? Who am I missing? And who am I missing from the vintage line? Besides Outback, Psych Out, Repeater. I can't remember off the top of my head who we're missing, but I think it's more. I think there's more figures that are missing from Night Force, but I'm positive we're going to get him. It's just a matter of time. So they've got to release these things in a cadence, I guess. So I would not be surprised next year when we start getting a lot of new characters and regular versions like Ripcord and Crazy Legs, that we probably will get some reuse characters like Outback and so on and so forth. Possibly Tiger Force Lifeline, maybe Python Patrol, characters like Crocmaster, or maybe Slaughter's Marauders, Mutton Junkyard. So I think we will get some of that stuff next year. It's just a matter of where it comes in between other stuff. They've been doing a lot of new characters recently. I've not seen a lot of reuse in the regular 4-figure release line. Bobby World, they've been doing them in 2-packs as part of Walmart or Target or Amazon or what have you. and they've been doing regular characters, original characters in the main line, with the exception of, I would say, like Major Blood, that was heavily reused on that Major Blood. The rest of that line was fairly new. The next wave with Wetsuit, Mainframe, Sci-Fi, and Night Viper, I would say the only one that's a lot of reuse would be Wetsuit, and that's only because they did the Marine and they've done like Torpedo, the Marine from the 60th anniversary, Torpedo, the Divers. So there's a lot of reuse prior to the Wetsuit. So they got to Wetsuit, but they did a lot of that type of sculpt on that type of figure prior. So I would say Wetsuit's the main reuse on that wave, even though it's a mainline character. So I'm curious what the next mainline wave of figures are going to be. If there's going to be a reuse, who will that character be? That'll be the main reuse. But we know we've got name onlys for Lifeline, Hit and Run, Iceberg, Big Lob. I'm trying to think. I think the Night Viper was for that wave, right? So who was with? That was the main. Another reuse was the Grim Viper, because they used a lot of stuff from the previous Range Viper. So there's two reuses in that wave, with the Wetsuit, Sci-Fi, Mainframe, and Grim Viper. So the next wave will be getting Night Viper, and I think there's a lot of reuse with that Night Viper with the Armor Cobra Commander. Just by looking at the armor and stuff like that, it looks a lot like Night Viper armor to me. And then obviously, if they do Tiger Force Lifeline, then they'll do mainline Lifeline later, and that'll be reuse in some form. So it's going to be interesting how they do it, but I'm sure we'll get it, Bobby World. It's just a matter of time. All right, so back to Outback. So we have this cross cell on the back of Outback with all of his accessories. Then we have a little figure dio there of him with his accessories, and then it's the same artwork as the Tiger Force. It's slightly different. It's more of his traditional coloring. Instead, they redecoed this or repainted this to match the figure. And then we have the little figure there. And again, this is the first time we're opening all these figures up. And we started with Double W0 Snake Eyes, and we've moved all the ways up, and now we're up to 63. And so here we go. So we've got mainline Outback there. There you go. And then we have the weapons locker, 63, a little pad on there, and we have all the weapons inside there. So then we're going to put this box aside. And then we'll pull out his accessories. Let's see. You got the little Cobra and Joe bag with all the accessories. Put that over here for now. And then we have the gobbledygook legal and all that there. We'll put that aside. And we'll put his locker over here. And then we will open the figure up first. So Outback is a big favorite of a lot of people in the line. So everybody was very happy when he came out. And now he's a figure from the late 80s, like I said, 87. So that was, they have yet to do a lot of characters from the 87 to 90 or so. figures. They've done a handful here and there, like they did Night Force, Crazy Legs. They've done a couple of Shockwaves. We're getting Hit and Run soon. Um, we're getting we got there you go, blue with the stars and stripes. Put that over there. Let's see. So this is a lot different than the Tiger Force one. There's a lot more deco on this than there is on the Tiger Force one. They went heavily with that tampo. He's got a little bit of sunburn on his arms with the color on that. I don't know if you can tell, but he has a sunburn on his arms, on parts of his arms, not all of his arms. So it shows that he's out in the sun. So they gave a little paint on that. He's got the ab crunch. There's a lot more detail, I would say, on that face, with the face printing on that. Very detailed face print. It looks like he's got some sun. He's got blue eyes. He's got a little bit of a green bandana. On the previous one, he had a green bandana, but it was all white hair. And his skin on the previous one was much whiter. So he's got the secondary with the harness there, and it's got some pouches. He's got the secondary leg sheath and the secondary holster. He's got another sheath on his ankle on his left leg. He's got more of a camo pattern, green and brown camo pattern. He's got black boots. So the camo pattern is very similar on both of these. This one is a little more gray and brown, whereas this one's more green and brown. All the deco on his belt is gray, same as the previous one. Instead of the Tiger Force logo, he's got the Survivor, like the vintage one had the Survivor on there. You can see that Survivor where it says Survivor. So they changed all the browns from the Tiger Force Outback to like a more of a khaki beige color on this one. But his gloves are the same. They look the same, except they have a little deco on the ends, but these are all black this time. The articulation, he still has the ab crunch there, the dreaded ab crunch. He's got the butterfly shoulder articulation. He's got the calf articulation there. He's got the wrist articulation. Again, he does not have the secondary wrist articulation. He's got the crotch and the waist articulation like most figures. He's got the double pinned knees, the double pinned elbows. He's got the thigh articulation there. He's got the ankle rocker, and he has the secondary ankle articulation. So he's got all the same articulation as the previous one. The major differences here is paint deco and different ideation on his color scheme from the Tiger Force. So we'll stick him down there for a minute. We'll open up his accessories. I can't imagine him having any accessories different than the previous Outback. Similar to the Bazooka, he has a lot of the same stuff. So let's get that out. Let's see what we have here. We'll put all that there. I lost one of them. I'll put that there. Make sure we get everything out of there. And we do. We got everything out. So we'll put that over there. So let's see. In the previous one, he has a more of a grayish gun. This one's a black gun with a brown holster. So they did some brown decoing on that holster. And it is a really cool gun. Very similar to the previous gun. A lot of cool detail and greeble on that to make it look realistic. He's got his major backpack. The difference is it matches his all of his secondaries. It's beige, khaki beige. So we'll put that on his back temporarily. Let's see if that'll stay in, or do we need to put it through just the back, because a lot of these backpacks do not go in very well. Yeah, see, that's not going in through the secondary. So I'm going to try to bypass the secondary and just put it in the back itself to see if it'll hold. Now, I got the previous one to stay on. Um, so I think this one will stay on too. It's just a matter of getting it in there. All right, so I got it on there. It's a pretty big survivor pack there. And then we have it looks like most of the same accessories. So we got his shovel. So we're going to put the shovel on there like I did with the previous one. It goes on this little tab on the end on this side. Maybe I'll mix it up. I'll put the shovel on the other side, so we'll have it on a different side. Let's see. Yeah. So I put the shovel on that side instead to mix this up a little bit so it's different. So there you go. There's his shovel. And then let's see. He's got his flashlight, the flashlight that the other one had. So the flashlight is in black there. It has a little glass piece inside there. And then I'm going to put that on this little secondary here that has the tube uh, holster. That's for his flashlight. Like the vintage one, he's got the flashlight on his left leg. See, there you go, the flashlight. Then he has the knife. Well, some silver deco on the knife. We're going to put that in the sheath in his leg, on his left leg ankle there. And then we have a weapons cartridge. So let's see where that weapons cartridge goes. Let's see. Nope, nothing on this secondary for that. Let's see if it goes on the gun. Yeah, it goes in the gun. Goes in the bottom of the gun. There. So that's where the weapons cartridge goes. And then he has this pistol that has a little bit of tape on it with a little bit of deco. Um, it looks like a really fancy gun. A lot of greeble on that makes all that detail look really cool. I'm going to put that into his holster on his right leg. There. So now I have that on his holster there, in his holster there. And then, let's see. We're going to try to give him this gun. I'm going to try to switch the gun up and put it on the other hand and make it look different than I did in the previous one. So I'm going to put the gun in this hand. There. Get it in there. All right, so I got the gun in that hand. And then I'm going to put the second handle on this side there. That. See if I can get that in there. And there, I got it. So there you go. So there's your Outback vintage version. Not vintage version, but regular classified up. So this is very, very close to the vintage version. Very, very close. I don't recall. He had a my figure had a holster, but I don't think that holster was with the original. I think someone gave him that. I don't think the vintage one came with that vintage that holster. I'm going to check the this the package, the vintage package, to see if I can see if that has that holster, because I had a holster with my vintage one, and I want to make sure that it doesn't have that. No, I don't see that. Doesn't look like it's in there. Uh, it looks like it's just the gun in the backpack and the flashlight. So I think when I bought mine, someone added an extra holster. I took my holster off because I didn't think it came in that. Um, Bobby World. I wish they'd make that strap on his gun soft good, so it'd be easier to pose him with. Yeah, you're right. That the the little strap that's on here, it is a little bit harder to do, to maneuver him around with that on there. They're getting better as the figures go on. If they ever do a more vintage version of him, which this is pretty close to vintage version, maybe they would do a different strap or something like that, and maybe he wouldn't have that harness and some of the other stuff. But if you look at the vintage figure, um, he has the flashlight, but he doesn't have that holster there. He has a knife, but so it's slightly different. So I'm not sure. Maybe you would do some cloth goods or something with that. I'm not entirely sure, but he does have that on there. He does have it on the vintage there. So I don't know. I'm not sure if we would get another Outback uh, like this, because it's very close to vintage. Maybe they could change it up for the Night Force version, possibly. But it gives them some room to play with him at least. Um, I don't know which version I like best. I like this one a lot. Uh, to be honest, I like the traditional when they do classifying up. Um, and since we never got the Tiger Force one before in the United States, it was a European release. Um, I don't have the fondness for the Tiger Force one, even though I do really like that Tiger Tampo that he's got on there on his shirt. I do like that a lot. Yeah, he's a very heavy figure because of the backpack. Can't get him to stand up very well. So there. All right, I got him. So I do like the other one. I just don't have the love for that version. I love this one more because, like I said, he has a really good storyline in A Real American Hero when Larry uses them. It's one of the first times that they crossed over GI Joe and A Real American Hero with special missions. The two series crossed over. I don't know if that was in the whole series that they crossed over. Maybe they made reference to things that happened in special missions, but I believe Outback had the only story that crossed over where him, Quick Kick, Snow Job, and Stalker were captured in a storyline, and Stalker tells him he has an opportunity to escape, and he does. And then his story goes into special missions, and he has to survive out in the wilderness and get back to the Joes to try to get a team together to rescue Quick Kick, Stalker, and Snow Job, who were captured. Um, I don't. I can't remember the place that they were captured at, but it was a very dramatic, very mature type storyline about decisions that are made in war and following orders and um, being supportive of your mates in your platoon or your squad or whatever. A lot of really mature themes for a toy um, comic, a toy branded comic. A lot of mature stuff. GI Joe was way above the normal branded toy comics of the time. And Marvel was doing a lot of toy branded comics at that point. They did the whole Star line of comics that was a lot more kiddie comics, but they also had stuff like Masters of the Universe, Silverhawks, Thundercats, Centurions, Inhumanoids, and a whole bunch of other stuff. That were done as comics, Jason the Wheeled Riders, that were done during that. But G.I. Joe was a step up at that point with the storytelling. And it really comes down to Larry Hama's writing. Larry Hama's background as a military man and his background as an editor on Nam and other military comics, he really understood all the elements that you would need for a really serious, mature military story. And that was one of the best ones, in my opinion, that showcased the real life things that these people have to deal with, that military and armed forces have to deal with on a daily basis. So I applaud Larry for that storyline. It was a great storyline, and I think it was a good showcase for Outback to shine. And I think maybe that's why a lot of people love him so much, because of that as well. But he never did get a chance to appear in Sunbow at all. That period of figures from 87, most of them got skipped, and 88 got skipped, 89 got skipped. We start getting back into the figures with Deke in 90, and Operation Dragonfire, and some of the 90s characters. Maybe some of the 89, the late 89 stuff came in Operation Dragonfire with Iron Grenadiers and Python Patrol and stuff like that. So we did get some of that in Deke in Operation Dragonfire. That's where my Armored Cobra Commander gets an appearance. So he actually was in this year, 87, but then doesn't get to show up until Deke, until I would say 90 is when Operation Dragonfire came out, because they were working on the cartoon and the animation for that a while prior to it being released. So they probably picked toys and characters and things like that, vehicles that were previously out that they could use that might still be at the store. And so maybe Armor Cobra Commander was the only Cobra Commander that they had at that point. They never released Cobra Commander as Once a Man Cobra Commander. That never was released in the vintage line. Got skipped over. A lot of the characters from the movie got skipped over as toys, like Pythona never had a vintage toy. Big Lob never had a vintage toy. And Once a Man Cobra Commander. And some of the denizens of Cobra La also never got released as vintage toys as well. So they waited a while to showcase Cobra Commander in the armor. But he's my favorite version, and he's in this storyline here with Raptor and the Pogo and all that. I love him. I've been waiting for him to come. They've been sending me all the figures in that wave one by one, and Monkey Wrench will be here probably by tomorrow. But Armor Cobra Commander has not shipped yet. So I'm kind of sad, because that was really the one I was looking forward to in that wave. I love that version of Cobra Commander. It's my favorite because of this period of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. I'm more of a comic book guy than I am a Sunbow guy. I have watched all the Sunbow. I've watched all the Deke. I've seen them many times. I just don't have as much love for those versions. I love the comic book versions more. If anybody doesn't have anything else in the chat, we can get rolling. Bobby World, you have anything else you want to add? Um, we're going to be going to number 64 next. So that's why I kind of did these two really quick because they were kind of reused from the Tiger Force versions as well. And I wanted to get to the next version, the next character who is going to be a very hot button ticket item coming up. And I'm curious to see what you guys are going to have to say about this next one that's coming up, number 64. Um, I remember that the toy commercial for the Pogo that merged into the comic cover. Yeah, that was this. That was this cover. They did. They had. That was how they were able to get away with advertising the toys because it was against the regulations at the time to advertise a toy during a cartoon because they thought you were just selling the toys on the cartoon. So they got away with it by advertising comic books. So G.I. Joe issue 1 was the first one, and because of the success of that, they got a contract to do 4 more. And then after that 4 was done, they got another contract to do 4 more after that. And this is one of the ones that they did for the next batch of 4. And I love everything in this picture here. All this stuff is some of my favorite stuff. I love Raptor. I love Pogo. I love Armor Commander. I like Outback because of the storyline that he was dealing with and stuff like that. It was just a really good time for G.I. Joe. They got their second legs during that run of G.I. Joe. A lot of cool storylines going on. Cobra Island storylines, that story with Outback, the whole thing with Armor Cobra Commander and Raptor and Billy. There was 2 or 3 major storylines that were crossing over for a good period of 15 or 20 issues during that. That was a really good period. And Ron Wagner, he was the artist and he did a really good job. And Marshall Rogers, they were both excellent artists at that point. And it's one of my favorite periods of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I think they did a phenomenal job. So as I was saying, the next figure is number 64, and it is going to be a major hot button ticket figure because of certain reasons for that figure's release. And we will go into all of that when we get to them, but that'll probably be on the next video, probably be tomorrow. So make sure you guys like, share, hit that subscribe button, and try to share these videos if you can to help out the algorithm to try and get that subs up to the 150 so we can get to opening some more Street Fighter figures. Because I think that'll be fun to open some more Street Fighter figures. And then we can do maybe a top 10 list for you guys. Maybe my favorite top 10 Joes, because I think my top 10 characters in general at my 100. Maybe we can just do the top 10 Joes and we can add some more characters to that and go into a little bit more depth into that. And then maybe with 200, we can do the top 10 Cobras. And then after that, we can do some other top 10 outside the box or this or that. So I want to do some fun stuff with these anniversary episodes to give you guys a little bit more fun with those. And that's why I figured we would do these Street Fighter figures for that. They're doing a really good job. I've got 3 more Street Fighters that are on the way sometime this fall. And then I think they haven't done the solicits for the last couple. There's a couple more, and then that'll be all for the vintage Street Fighters that I will get. I'm only getting the main line of Street Fighter figures that was during A Real American Hero, and I think one other character that was never released. There might have been actually 1 or 2 characters because DJ was never released either. So there might be 1 or 2 or 3 characters that was never released in through Hasbro as part of Street Fighter. So but I'm getting the main Street Fighter 2 lineup, and that's all we're going to do with that. But I'm going to probably get into the Mortal Kombat ones after that, and then we could maybe do Mortal Kombat after Street Fighters. After we open all the Street Fighters, we can open up all the Mortal Kombats. That would be the ones from Hasbro that was released during the 90s with G.I. Joe. So there you go. Give you a little bit of incentive for the future and some insights into what we could be doing, the fun stuff. So if there's nothing else, Bobby World, I guess thanks for joining us in the chat today. This is a twofer video. I figured it would be a good combination video since we got the two Tiger Force versions of them a while back. And now we're getting into some really cool stuff coming up. So I wanted to move this along a little bit. So periodically I'll make a decision to do a couple of figures in a video, depending upon if they match up well enough or if I think that they go good with the video. So that's why this worked out well for us in this one. Thank you, everybody that's commenting after the fact and making observations and asking questions. I really appreciate it. Again, this is for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And so I guess that's going to do it for us in this one. We got two Joes in one video this time. So, yo, Joe, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.